Welcome back to your favorite high school hockey broadcast. Got the Sabers in a rivalry game against the Prior Lake Lakers, coming to you from Dakota. Shako won the draw, got it deep in the zone. Prior Lake immediately regained possession, got it back out to neutral. That's where we are now. Schuler gets a hold of it, tries to get it deep, but dump in got deflected. Tochek was offsides, I thought, but they didn't call it. Prior Lake coming through with some speed, gets around Schuler, driving towards the net, wraps around the back of the net, puts the brakes on, centering pass. Schuler was in good position. Tochek comes out of there with the puck, can't get it out of the zone though. Now she does, second time. They're waving icing, it got deflected. Sabres go for a wholesale change. Prior Lake able to come out from their end unimpeded through the neutral zone. Forward tried to chip it in and run it down herself, skate it down herself, but Shakti was able to get back. We've got Knutson, Luth, Huberty, Smith, and Cam Krisak on the ice right now. Luth with the puck, tries to backhand it up the boards. Rister from the blue line, easily saved and poked out. We've got Zoe Lewis in goal today, number 30. Have an extra goalie on the bench, Addie Malone and Quinn Benesti. Puck is now in the Sabre offensive zone, briefly. Still battling to keep it in there, but Prior Lake's able to dump it deep. They're gonna call icing on this, and we'll get our first stoppage. 13:06 left in the first period. John Shoy, McNee, and Telejohn into the game, along with Schuler and Chloe Krisak. Schuler and Krisak at the D's. Face off in the offensive zone, near side circle. John Shoy will take it. She wins the draw back to McNee and drops it back to Krisak. Tries a slapper that redirects nicely by Telejohn. Prior Lake goalie got a pad on it. John Shoy got the rebound behind the net, tried to sneak a little wraparound in there, but Prior Lake goalie was in position. Drops it back to D, got a D-to-D pass. Wrister by Schuler, bad save. Shako with a nice little flurry here. Centering pass gets deflected really high. A little bit of a punch by the Prior Lake defensewoman. They're able to control the puck and head out. We're going to get a slash on one of the Sabres. It looks like it's John Shoy. He's going to get put in the box for a couple of minutes. So first power play of the game. 12:58 left in the first. Sabres will be on the kill. You've got Rampart, Tochek, Carlson, and Cam Krisak. Puck will come into the Lakers' offensive zone. Rampart on the draw. Krisak comes out of there with the puck, and she's able to clear. Shako might have an odd man rush here if they can get moving. Rampart gets the wrister off, but the goalie saved it. Tochek gets the rebound. Just going to pin it on the boards down there by herself just to kill some time. She's done this well all season, actually, on the penalty kill. Rampart with a nice step up, keeps the puck in the zone. 2 forecheckers for the Sabres, causing all kinds of problems for Prior Lake. They eventually get it out. Nice angle. Shot goes off Lewis's head. Wrister gets blocked before it gets in. Rampart will clear. Nice little chip shot clear all the way down the end of the ice. That lets Huberty and Knutson jump on. One touch pass up the boards gets intercepted. Knutson gets a stick on that pass. 55 seconds left on the power play. Prior Lake had one good chance, but haven't really gotten possession in the zone. 4 checkers for the Sabres are doing a good job. Chipped up the boards, and Knutson puts it back around the back of the net. That'll kill another 10 seconds. Backhanded back around the boards. Nobody there for the Lakers. Huberty giving chase. Shako goes off the board, Sabres go off the boards, and it's going to be iced. 26 seconds left on the kill. We'll get a Partial change for the Sabers. Telejohn and McNee on the ice for Knutson and Huberty. Smith and Chloe Krisak at the Ds. They switched earlier. Telejohn will take the face-off. She ties up the draw. Puck is going to pop out to Chloe Krisak. Her slap shot gets deflected by a Prior Lake defender. Smith dumps it around the back of the net. Goes all the way around the boards. Telejohn giving chase. Causes all sorts of problems. Puck comes out of the zone. Uh-oh. Good pressure by the Lakers. McNee loses the puck. Centering pass made it through, but Prior Lake forward couldn't get a clean shot. They finally have the puck. Step in, blocker save by Zoe Lewis. There's another one. 3 shots all in a row there in the last 15 seconds of the penalty, but Lewis was up to the challenge. Managed to hold on to the last one. Carlson and Schuler back at the Ds. Telejohn and McNee will stay. Telejohn wins the draw. Goes back to Schuler, but she gets tied up before she can clear the puck. Pops out of there. Carlson's on it. Changes direction behind the net. Quickly shut down. Still banging in there. She's given up quite a bit of size for the Prior Lake forward. Telejohn puts a body on the Prior Lake forward, able to tie the puck up. Penalty is officially over. John Choi is back on the ice. Ooh, just missed. Having a little bit of a rush there. Chipped in, goes behind the net. Carlson back to retrieve. Goes up the boards to toe check, but she can't maintain possession and gets chipped back in by Prior Lake. Schuler gets tied up. We got Schuler, John Choi, Tochek, McNee, and Carlson out on the ice. Tochek skating it up the ice. She's got some space. Shaco's going to go for a change. She'll put it deep. Rampart and Anderson on the ice now. Clearance pass goes off the boards. Backhanded up, but not out. Nicely held in by Schuler, but forwards were retreating and not able to get on it. But Tochek gets back, gets on the puck. Now Rampart has it. She backhands it back to the D. Carlson lost the 50-50 puck. Lakers rushing. Schuler in good position. Wraparound goes all the way out the far side. Shot right dead center. Zoe Lewis able to cover. Hit her right in the stomach. Saw that one all the way. Shakopee being outshot 5-1. 9:30 left in the first. Huberty, Smith, Krisak, Luth, and Knutson on the ice. Faceoff gets tied up, pops out. Wrister from the blue line is easily gloved by Lewis. They're going to have to do better than that. They're going to shoot it from the blue line. Nice draw by Huberty. Smith goes back to retrieve the puck, goes around the back of the net, rings it around, can't get it out. Wrist shot fanned by Prior Lake, and Huberty able to skate it out. All sorts of pressure through the neutral zone, and puck ends up getting kicked back to Smith. She'll do a drop pass to Knutson. Wrister kind of got up on the goalie before she realized what was happening. It looked like it gave her more trouble than you would have thought. Prior Lake tries to chip it deep so they can change. Krisak intercepted it. Goes up to Luth. Puts the puck off the boards. Took an interesting bounce into the zone. Knutson managed to get a slap shot out of it. Hit a Lakers skate. Lakers trying to push through the neutral zone, and they do. Nice stick work by number 17, one of their forwards, the center. Puck gets swung around the boards, back to the Prior Lake D. Tries to switch sides on the ice. Nobody there. Chloe Krisak able to retrieve the puck. Nice footwork, and Laker forward ended up losing an edge. Puck is up to McNee, who backhands it behind the net. John Choi on the ice now with McNee and Telejohn. Schuler and Chloe Krisak at the D. Schuler able to hold it in, gets it back behind the net. McNee runs it down. Eventually loses the puck to a Laker. Telejohn ties up the Laker forward. Wrister from Schuler, pad save, and goalie covers. Get another stoppage, 7:42. No changes for Shakopee. John Choi will take the draw. The Lakers changed a couple of theirs. Puck gets kicked around, ends up back on Schuler's stick. She has a wrister get deflected. I think it hit a stick or a hip somewhere in the middle. McNee on the puck behind the net. Now John Choi, near side boards in the corner. Lakers able to kick the puck up, but Krisak holds it in. She goes back down the boards. John Choi gets the puck. McNee looking for somebody to center. Puck comes out. Schuler made some contact, but no call. Lakers will try the wraparound again. They like to... Nice centering pass. Lewis able to get a glove on it and then cover eventually. I think the puck was actually under one of the defenders, Schuler maybe, but no harm, no foul. Rampart, Toczek, and Anderson on the ice along with Carlson and Krisak. 6:52 left in the first. Lakers win the draw. Back to the D. Wrister goes wide. Comes along the near side boards. Prior Lake first to the puck. They maintain possession briefly and then swing it behind the net. Carlson gets it up to Toczek. She's immediately pinned against the boards, and the puck is back behind the net again. Rampart's going to go back to retrieve it. She's in trouble immediately, under pressure. Swings it up to Anderson, who can't control the puck, and ends up on a Laker stick. Tried to drive through the middle of the ice, and somebody poke-checked the puck out the back end. Nice change of direction by Krisak behind the net. She'll get it up to Toczek. Toczek wanted to swing the puck to the near side of the ice, but nobody was there. Prior Lake will do it, but Shakopee in good position. Anderson and Carlson both over there. Carlson with some nice edge work to escape the forecheck. She manages to get the puck up through the neutral zone and eventually gets held up. Luth comes off the bench at 100 miles an hour. Got the puck swung in momentarily. Popped back to Knutson, who ended up putting it into the offensive zone. There was a touch-up needed, so Shakopee was a little bit delayed getting down there on the puck, but putting some good pressure on. Nicely done by Smith. She steps up and backhands it back down to the boards. Luth on the puck now. Tries to backhand it back to Smith, but intercepted. Prior Lake forward's got some size. She's just driving right through the Shakopee defenders. Wrister hits Lewis up high, and she's able to hold on to it. 5:11 left in the first, and we will get a partial change for the Sabers. John Choi, Telejohn, and McNee back in the game. Smith and Krisak will stay. John Choi on the draw. Wins the draw. Krisak retrieves the puck, changes direction, goes out the far side, up to McNee, who goes off the boards and around the Laker defender, but not able to get to the puck, but blocks the clear pass, and puck ends up on Telejohn's stick. She's battling on the end boards. Puck goes up the near side boards. Now John Choi and Smith chipping in. John Choi loses an edge. Still manages to hold the puck in momentarily. Prior Lake going for the breakout, and good pinch by Krisak there. She ends up getting a wrister that gets in on the goalie. Pad saved it. John Choi tries to backhand it back behind the boards. Puck popped out to Smith. She ended up losing it, but Schuler comes off the bench in good position and gets it down behind the net. Shaka will change. Partial change. Toczek on the ice and Rampart. Now McNee will come off, and Anderson will get this line back to its normal setup. Schuler and Carlson at the D. Varsity is short at least one defense woman, so I don't think that we're going to see Jetta Barrick today, and we may lose one of the defenders before the end of the game if they're going to need her for varsity. Anderson, with the lazy pass off the boards back to Carlson, goes to Schuler and then up to Toczek, and the puck goes behind the net. Anderson first to the puck, gets pinned against the boards and goes down. Prior Lake able to break out, had some clear ice. Carlson in good position, and now Rampart's on the puck. We got a 3-on-2, but Shako does not transition quickly enough, and Prior Lake was back checking hard, able to turn that into nothing much. Puck ends up back on Carlson's stick. She skates it out of the defensive zone. She goes through the neutral zone. Tried one too many, lost the puck, and Prior Lake ends up taking over. Cam Krisak on the puck. A lot of pressure coming from the Laker forward. Drops back to the D pass. Wrister, again, not too troublesome for Lewis. She sticked it into the corner. Prior Lake managed to get back on it, but the puck pops out the far end, and Krisak with a nice touch ends up chipping the puck out, and Knutson won the race to the puck, got a little wrister on net. Prior Lake goalie had to glove it, and we'll get a face-off in the offensive zone. Huberty, Knutson, and Luth now with Smith and Cam Krisak. 2:30 left in the first, still 0-0. Prior Lake wins the draw, skates it around the back of the net, go up the boards and then through the middle on the breakout, and now they're in the neutral zone, entering their offensive zone with some speed. Krisak back in good position. Excellent shot block by Knutson, and she's free. She gets run down from behind. Maybe got hooked a little bit. Didn't have as clear of a shot on the goalie. I thought she might just be one-on-one, but good hustle by Laker defender to get back. Puck ended up getting stopped on the pad and covered by Prior Lake. So probably Shako's best opportunity since that first early flurry, but nothing comes of it. John Choi McNee and Telejohn back in the game. Puck gets rung around, held in by Smith, who goes back up the boards, or tries to. Puck gets blocked by Prior Lake. McNee and John Choi over there to help out. Smith comes out of there with the puck, tries a backhand and fans. Puck ends up on a Laker stick. Shot is blocked. Ends up bouncing dangerously onto a Prior Lake stick out front. Lewis was in good position. She was almost moving in the wrong direction, but able to stop the shot. It took a funny bounce upward and then hit somebody and dropped back down right in front of her, able to cover. 1:41 left in the first. Draw kind of tied up, ends up in the corner. John Choi pins the Laker forward against the boards. Schuler went over there to help, tried to clear the puck. Wrister from out there. Lewis couldn't glove it cleanly, but managed to get enough on it to hit it, deflect it to the corner. Shakopee trying to clear the puck. Got held up on the edge of the glass for a minute there. Finally get through out of the zone. Drop pass comes out. They're going to have to touch up, and they'll use the opportunity for a change. That's the 1-minute announcement from the PA. Toczek, Rampart, and Anderson on the ice. Puck is held up. Comes through the neutral zone. Toczek puts it in behind the net. Quick exit from Prior Lake is done very effectively. Got a well-organized counterattack, somebody driving the net hard every time. Haven't gotten clean shots off, though. They will take a lot of shots from the blue line. That Shako's done a good job of having somebody in position to block. Puck gets deflected off Rampart's stick, maybe off something else over there. Ends up in the Shako bench. 13 and a half seconds left in the first. Defenders will change for Shako. Carlson and Krisak on. Anderson, Rampart, and Tochek will stay. Faceoff is one, ends up on Tochek's stick momentarily. She chips it out to Anderson, but can't keep the puck on her stick. It's back in the zone. Rister from Prior Lake goes harmlessly to the side, and that will be the end of the first period. So no score. Prior Lake out shooting the Sabers 12-6. A couple of good opportunities for the Sabers, a couple of decent opportunities for the Lakers. So pretty well matched game so far. We will take a 2-minute break and come back to you with the second. And we're back for the second. Huberty, Knutson, Luth on the ice along with Carlson and Krisak. Face up, tied up. Huberty just got plowed over, and they're going to call a penalty on that. That's a nice way to start the period. Shako will go on the power play. Shako will change, put the power play line out on the ice. Anderson, Rampart, Telejohn along with Carlson and Krisak. Rampart is going to take the draw. She wins the draw. Back to Carlson. She'll take a wrister that's blocked. Telejohn able to hold on to the puck nicely so Shako can keep possession and stay in the zone. She'll go off the near side boards up to Krisak. She gets pressured but doesn't panic. Nice pass behind the net to Anderson. She's going to go back to Telejohn. Skates towards the middle and then back outside to Rampart. She goes down to Anderson. Goes back to Telejohn. Changes sides to Carlson. She'll put a weak wrister behind the net. Anderson will hold it momentarily. Chipped up the boards, but Shako able to hold it in. Rampart goes back to Krisak. Rampart takes a shot. Anderson had a nice screen, but goalie got a glove on it and able to cover. That was good possession by Shakopee, almost 40 seconds in the zone. Some good passing and ended up with a good shot from the right on the face-off dot by Rampart. She tried to go near post, but the goalie got a glove on it. John Choi, Tochek, and Knutson on the ice now. Defenders stay the same. Tochek skates out with the puck. He goes to Carlson. Just take a wrister that gets sticked off the glass. Prior Lake ends up with the puck and able to chip it all the way down the ice. Good pressure, aggressive pressure by the Lakers. Carlson able to win the race to the puck. Goes up to Tocek, who goes cross ice to Knutson. She goes up the boards. Puck cleared. Krisak tried to glove it down. It was right on the glass, so she couldn't get a clean grip on it. Carlson pass is intercepted by the Lakers, and they immediately shoot it back down off her foot. Tocek comes back with it, and Shakopee able to get back into the zone and keep possession. She goes up the far side boards to John Choi. It's going to go back to Smith. Smith goes deep to Tocek, who one time's a pass back to John Choi. Doing a little back and forth down there, but bouncing puck ends up giving Prior Lake a chance to get on the puck. Comes out to Krisak. She tried to wrist her, but bouncing puck, couldn't get much on it. Knutson will put it behind the net, takes a crazy bounce off of Stanchion, ends up on goal, gets flung all the way down on the net, and that will be the end of the penalty. So one good opportunity for the Sabres on that penalty. Puck ends up being frozen by Lewis, so the faceoff will be in the defensive zone. Huberty, Krisak, Luth, and Telejohn on the ice. In Smith, sorry, forgot that one. Nice stick work by the Laker forward. Shot got blocked. Telejohn comes out of there with it. She's got good speed, tries to drive the net, but Laker defender gets some help from the second one in and able to hold her up. Huberty holds the puck in, and Telejohn was trying to take the shortest path possible to get the puck. She ended up running into the goal. Hopefully that didn't bother her too much. Kind of hit her shoulder on the near post there, dislodged the goal, and we got a stoppage. Faceoff will come out into the neutral zone because of that. Knutson, John Choi, McNee, Carlson, and Schuler. Faceoff won by the Sabres, goes back to Schuler, who dumps it in. McNee gives chase. She's able to get possession of the puck. Nice pass all the way across ice. Bouncing saucer pass that Knutson was able to corral. Not cleanly enough to get a shot the first time, but eventually gets one off. It was a good wrister, but it went wide. Carlson with a nice pass down the far side boards to McNee. She tries a backhanded centering pass that got cut out. Schuler's wrister hits a Laker stick, and now all of a sudden they've got an odd man rush. Carlson does a really good job putting an end to that quickly. She spins, and Shakopee headed back. Knutson tried to find McNee cutting through the middle, and Laker defender saw it coming and cut it out. A lot of contact behind the net, or not behind the net, on the end boards. No penalty call. Prior Lake maintains possession of the puck. They're able to change one of their skaters while they're in the zone. Puck gets rung around from one of the Ds. Carlson giving chase. Puck ends up on the side of the net, kind of in a strange spot. Carlson had it momentarily and got swung down. Couldn't maintain possession. John Choi lifts the stick, and Schuler comes in to help. Puck still being held on the boards. John Choi gets knocked down. Lakers come out of there with it. Centering pass ends up just barely squirting through. Lewis got enough of the puck to slow it down. It ended up behind her. One of the Chaco defenders was trying to clear it off the line, and I think was unsuccessful. 1-0 Lakers at 10:37 of the second. Chaco will change. Rampart, Anderson, and Tocek back on. Rampart takes the draw. Gets tied up. 8 skaters converge in the middle of the ice, and Smith comes out of there with it. Chaco not able to keep it in the zone. End up back on Krisak's stick. She tries to backhand it into the zone and does, but able to be intercepted. Anderson puts some body on the Prior Lake skater, and they're unable to clear. momentarily. Puck still in the zone, but comes out of there. Lakers came out of there with good speed. Forward was able to get around Smith and shelf the wrister from the near side faceoff circle. And that's 2 goals in about 40 seconds that Shakopee's given up. It's unfortunate. Got to keep their heads up now. 10:02 left in the second. Telejohn, Huberty, and Luth on the ice. Telejohn ends up getting the puck down the ice as she's being swung down. Prior Lake first to the puck. Clearance ends up hitting Krisak. She holds it in with a skate, and then Luth backhands it back into the zone. Telejohn and Huberty trying to get up there for the forecheck. Breakout pass. Oh, wrister from Schuler. Goalie was sliding to the glove side, and the puck almost deflected into the goal. No harm, no foul. There's no Sabers there for the rebound. Prior Lake able to get it out. Chipped nicely up the boards by Luth, but just a little bit too far for Telejohn. Prior Lake will exit. Huberty was the only skater back. Puck ended up right on the stick of one of the Prior Lake forwards, but she couldn't corral it well enough. Nice kick save by Lewis on the shot from a Laker. Sabers are dropping pretty deep, and that's allowing the Laker defenders to skate in all the way to the top of the face-off circle and get decent shots off. Lewis is in good position, but that's not a very sustainable approach. Shaka will change. John Choi onto the ice, takes the draw along with McNee and Knutson. Wrister goes wide. It's going to swing along near side boards. Knutson gets to it. Puck ends up back on Krisak's stick. She can't get it out. Carlson back behind the net to retrieve. She goes up the boards to Knutson, who loses the puck, and Lakers will hold it in the zone. Centering pass able to be intercepted by McNee, who will chip it out, at least get it out of the zone, and then she puts great pressure on, gets a wrister off. Kick save was sitting right in the slot. John Choi got tied up, couldn't get a stick on the rebound. She's displeased with the lack of a call. Lets the ref know about it. In the meantime, Prior Lake iced the puck, so they'll come back into the offensive zone. 8:14 left in the second. Rampart, Anderson, and Tochek, along with Chloe Krisak and Aubrey Smith. Rampart on the draw. Lefty backhanded draw goes back to Smith. She'll go D to D to Krisak, but pass was wobbling and on her backhand. So she was unable to hold on to it. Got the puck out of the zone eventually. Lakers had to touch up, and exit pass off the boards from Smith. Anderson couldn't get a stick on it. They'll try it again. Anderson passes the puck to nobody in the middle of the ice. Puck ends up in the corner. Smith giving chase. Backhanded centering pass gets on a Prior Lake stick. Shot ends up on a Laker stick. Anderson cannot get out of the zone. Held in by Prior Lake again. Smith's going to have a little bit of space, but tries to backhand it back around the boards. Prior Lake ends up holding on to the puck. Rampart goes up the boards and still not going to make its way out. Laker D will kick it back down the boards. It's back on Rampart's stick. She tries to go back up the boards again. Deflected. Shakopee is just having a heck of a time getting the puck out of the zone. Still can't get it off. This is a really long shift. There's some tired skaters out there. Finally gets out. Doesn't even get all the way down. Anderson was putting some pressure on the forecheck. Bouncing puck goes to Smith. She chips it up, but Rampart was exiting the ice. Telejohn onto the ice along with Huberty. Anderson, the last of that line to get off the ice. Her replacement, Luth, comes on. Anderson almost gets a 6-man on the ice penalty, but managed to get semi over the boards. Lakers back and putting pressure on immediately. Telejohn does a good job deflecting the puck, and it'll pop over the glass for a face-off. Moment for Shako to catch their breath here. Second period has not been very kind so far. Face-off will be in the defensive zone. Huberty will take it. Huberty, Luth, Telejohn, Carlson, and Schuler. Telejohn had the puck momentarily, but managed to get tied up by a Laker and lost it. Lakers back on the puck, but Carlson ends up with it. Telejohn chips it out. Luth will go off the boards and around the Prior Lake defender. She's first to the puck, but can't hold on to it. Lakers will put it off the boards behind the net, D to D. Knutson was coming in hard. Great forecheck there, and she turns them over. Centering pass, nobody there. Knutson got behind the net, was able to get on the puck. John Shoy's going to end up in the box. Put a shoulder into the Lakers skater. That's her second penalty of the game. So, down 2-0. Shaco's going to go on the penalty kill with 5:23 left in the second. Pretty dangerous territory here. Give up the third goal, it's going to be hard to come back from. Same thing happened Tuesday night to Rosemont, got down 3-0. Managed to get one back in the third period, but that was it. Draw ends up with the Lakers having possession. Cycle around the back of the net, out to the D, and they'll go back to the end boards. Carlson back behind the net, ties up the Lakers skater. They go near side off the boards. Rampart putting good pressure on, but no panic from the Lakers. Hard wrister ends up. Lewis, bad save, bounced right onto the stick of the Laker defender, and her wrister went up over the blocker side shoulder of Lewis, and just what I said we did not want to happen is what happened. Down 3-0. 4:41 left in the second. Shakopee's got to pick their head up here. Get a little fire. Face-off won by Shakopee on Smith's stick, but unable to clear. Smith will skate the puck behind her own zone. Stops, changes direction. Goes up to Krisak. She tries to go up the boards to Anderson, but Prior Lake first to the puck. Krisak comes out of there with it. Loses the puck. Shakopee breakouts today have been suboptimal. Puck ends up in the neutral zone momentarily, and then Prior Lake is just immediately back in the offensive zone. Tocek does a good job chipping it. Tocek and Anderson, 2-on-1. Tocek takes a shot. Anderson gets the rebound, but the goalie was in position. That was the best opportunity that Shakopee has had in a long time. I'm not sure how that rebound was kept out of the net. You have to look at the replay on that one. 3:51 left in the second, 3-0. Penalty is still showing on the scoreboard momentarily. Looks like the scorekeepers finally figured it out. Puck controlled back to Krisak. Huberty deflected her wrister wide, ends up back on Smith's stick. Tries a one-time dump pass onto the end of the. Nicely held in momentarily by Smith. Puck hit Luth's skate and ends up coming out of there on a Prior Lake stick. Prior Lake forwards are having their way at times, skating around some of the Shakopee defensive efforts. We're going to cycle it, change directions, go all the way around the far side of the net, and they're going to change directions. Cross ice pass. That was a great pass. She was wide open momentarily, but puck was bouncing. She wasn't able to get it cleanly. Puck comes out of there. Knutson tries to skate it out, and puck unable to be cleared. Krisak gets it up to Luth. Finally clears. She tries to backhand it. The puck does not get deep enough, but Knutson putting pressure on the forecheck, able to hold up the Prior Lake advance long enough for Shakopee to change. John Troy on the ice along with Knutson and McNee. John Troy came out of there with the puck. Some nifty work. Had a bad angle shot. Rebound gets cleared by Prior Lake all the way down the ice for an icing. We will come back into the the Shakopee offensive zone. 2:15 left in the second. Shots on goal 15-12, but scoreboard's 3-0. Face-off won by Shakopee. Slap shot by Chloe Krisak hit a Prior Lake defender in the helmet. She tries again, able to be gloved by the Prior Lake goalie. Shakopee doing a decent job today on the face-off wins. And right after I say that, John Troy wins another one. Puck pops out of there. Telejohn wheels around. She actually found some space momentarily there. Her wrister went wide. She tried the far side. McNee working hard, tries to center it to Knutson, but goalie very alertly covers it before the puck trickled out front. Prior Lake is going to go for a wholesale change. Sabers will leave their skaters. John Troy gets tied up on the draw, and Prior Lake comes out of there with the puck. They're attacking with speed. Wrister gloved by Zoe Lewis. When Prior Lake comes out of their defensive zone with the puck, they are skating hard up the ice, and Shakopee seems to be having a hard time adjusting to that. Rampart, Tocek, and Anderson back on the ice, along with Krisak and Carlson. This is the line that had a decent opportunity last time they were out. Puck goes up the boards to Tocek, gets held in. Prior Lake gets to the puck, gets a wrister off, but Lewis able to stick it up off the glass. Shako eventually gets it out of the zone, ends up on Anderson's stick. She gets run down, but manages to get the puck deep. Loses the race, but puts some pressure on the puck. Eventually pops up to a Prior Lake stick. Tocek deflected it enough that Prior Lake lost possession of it. It went up to Carlson. Same thing happened to her. Rampart on the puck right now. She goes hard off the near side boards, but Prior Lake in good position. PA announcer has not noticed that there is less than 1 minute left in the period. 39 seconds. Wrist shot hits a shin. Anderson tries to skate the puck out and does not. Puck held in, and wrister from the blue line will be gloved by Lewis. I mentioned this earlier, but the discipline at breakouts and clearing the zone has been lacking Shakopee's part today. Too many skaters trying to skate the puck out through Prior Lake defenders, and they're getting poke checked and tied up, and the puck ends up staying in the zone. This time, Chloe Krisak gets it up the boards to Knutson. She drives hard on the net, tries a backhand, but Prior Lake is able to make the save. Would have been a nice way to end the second period, but no dice. So after two, Prior Lake really took control of the second period. We'll get a Zamboni, so we'll be back in about 10 minutes. But 3-0 Lakers. Welcome back to Dakota Rink 2 for the third period of Sabers versus Prior Lake JV game. Sabers will be headed right to left for the third on the freshly resurfaced ice. John Shoy, McNee, and Telejohn out there along with Schuler and Chloe Krisak. Face-off ends up on Schuler's stick. She chips it up to Telejohn, who loses an edge and takes a Prior Lake defender with her. Puck ends up on a Prior Lake stick coming out of there. Krisak in great position to block the shot, but shouldered off the puck. And it is held into the zone. Schuler wins the race to the puck, but Prior Lake able to dispossess. John Troy goes back to collect it. Backhand up the boards, ends up intercepted. Shakopee, we got a hand pass, on Prior Lake. One of the Prior Lake defenders took quite a whack at that one and then swatted it with her hand. Sabres will change. Rampart, Anderson, Tochek, Carlson, and Cam Krisak. Rampart on the draw. Puck is won by Rampart. It goes directly off Carlson's skate, so it comes out of the zone. Krisak wins the race to the puck, but Prior Lake able to get back and collect it. Shako a little aggressive on the forecheck, ended up getting skated right by. Anderson has to go deep to retrieve the puck, but manages to get it out the zone. She tries to go far side to Tochek, who ends up winning the race to the puck, but puck ends up cleared down. Zoe Lewis has to play the puck. It'll get chipped out back into the neutral zone. Prior Lake will dump it deep. And they'll change. Carlson comes out of there with it. Ends up on the near side boards. Anderson and Rampart trying to get it deep. Rampart finally does, and Sabres will go for a change. Knutson on the ice. He's been skating very hard today. Forecheck is very noticeable. Luth and Huberty along with her. Huberty's going to win the race to that one. Hits it off the far side boards to Knutson. She gets pinned against the boards. Nicely done. Puck ended up on Huberty's stick, and she took a 0 or negative 5 degree angle shot, and I think it deflected off the goalie's stick. Somehow up and over. I need to see the replay on that one, but however it happened, it ended up in the net, and Shakopee is on the board. 3-1 with 12:51 left in the third. We'll see if that gives the Sabres a little bit of a spark. Huberty wins the draw to Knutson, who goes back to Schuler and then up to Knutson, who chips it deep. Knutson will change, but Luth up there on the forecheck. Outlet pass gets intercepted by Smith, and she'll ring it back around the boards. Telejohn coming in hard. Manages to cause enough trouble that the puck cannot be cleared. Rister got kicked aside, but Telejohn got the rebound. She was trying to get the wraparound, and she had some space. The goalie was on the other side of the crease, but Prior Lake defenders were in good position. Puck ends up on Smith's stick. She backhands it, kind of a floating backhand. John Troy tried to glove it down, but couldn't. Prior Lake on the counterattack. Rister goes wide. They'll put it behind the net. Smith and John Troy. Nice little drop off there. John Troy backhanded it up to McNee, hit her in the skates. Puck ends up back on Krisak's stick. She goes up to McNee, who can't catch the pass cleanly. It ends up slowing her momentum down, but she's battling hard. Ends up still maintaining the puck. Goes to Tochek. Puck gets kind of bonked around for a while in there. Ended up back on Chloe Krisak's stick. Shako had at least one wrist shot opportunity there, but ended up wide. Krisak ties up the Laker forward, and Rampart retrieves the puck momentarily. Strong skating by Prior Lake. She was getting held up and still managed to center the pass. Could have been a hooking penalty there on the Sabres. Puck goes out to shot that's blocked down, and Rampart ends up on the puck. She gets tied up in the neutral zone. Puck bounces back to the Shako defender and then gets wristed down. Anderson on the ice now, along with Knutson and Huberty. Anderson wins the puck. Nice pass to Knutson. Couldn't get a lot on the shot. Puck gets chipped all the way down the ice, and they wave the icing. Just had the right speed. Nice little pitching wedge there. Knutson gets the puck up to Anderson. She tries to dangle, manages to clear the zone. She might have a shot opportunity. Rebound comes off. She tries to backhand the rebound. Great pressure by Shako this period. Knutson's shot ends up wide. She tried to go near side. Anderson on the puck now. Goes back to Knutson. Puts another wrister on. Almost lost the rebound, but able to cover. So Shakopee comes out of in the third period with much more aggressive approach, and they, as a result of that, they've got probably 3 or 4 of their better opportunities. Only one goal to show for it so far with 9:51 left. Face-off won by Prior Lake, and she's coming out of there real hot. Krisak just took the tripping penalty. She's not going to argue that one. She was wrong-footed, and I don't think that was a terrible penalty. 9:45 left. This will be, I think, the third Prior Lake penalty. Toczek, Rampart, Schuler, and Smith on the penalty kill. Schuler ends up with the puck. Rampart won the draw. 2 Lakers taking on Schuler behind the net, but she comes out of there with it and manages to clear all the way down far side of the ice. Toczek, first forward in on the forecheck, and then Rampart. Prior Lake, long transition pass ended up getting deflected and able to be cleared back down by Schuler. 4 skaters will stay. About 40 seconds elapsed on the power play. Puck on the near side boards, comes out on a Shakopee stick. Smith able to redirect into the boards. Wrister seen all the way by Zoe Lewis and doesn't give her too much trouble. She covers. What's happening?
Okay. Body check. Sure. I didn't see it.
Oh. Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Mike Vanesti accurately pointed out that they just called a check on Schuler, so 5-on-3 power play now. Telejohn, Krisak, and Carlson are the skaters. Great block by Telejohn, and the puck comes out into the neutral zone. So Prior Lake's going to have a minute of a 5-on-3. They'll skate the puck off sides there. So Cam Krisak and Schuler in the box. Telejohn's going to come out. Huberty's going to take her place. The other 2 skaters will stay the same. Puck ends up on a Laker stick. They're able to enter the zone. Krisak tries to clear but can't get it out of the zone. Wrister gets blockered down by Zoe Lewis. I'm sure the Sabres will take it if that's where Lakers are going to shoot from on a 5-on-3. Puck comes near side. Wrister gets kick saved, and the follow-up also saved. I think I might have heard a clink of a post, too. Wrister gets held by Zoe Lewis, and it's going to end up on the far side face-off circle. Smith and Knutson into the game. Chloe Krisak will stay. 23 seconds left on the 5-on-3, and then another minute 15 of a 5-on-4 penalty. Knutson on the draw. Wins the faceoff to Krisak. Quick clearance up the boards, goes right into a Prior Lake body and held up. She battles through it though, changes direction several times, manages to get it. Oh, wrist clearance gets stick down very nicely by a Laker. That was a really, really good effort by Chloe Krisak, and unfortunately a better effort to hold the puck in. And Prior Lake skater managed to shelf a wrister with 1 second left on the 5-on-3. That's unfortunate because that would have been the end of the 5-on-4 if it would have happened just a second later. So 4-1 Lakers. Rampart, McNee, Carlson, and Smith in the game. Just your standard 5-on-4 penalty. Prior Lake into the zone. We'll lay it back and maintain possession. This shot hits Shakti body, ends up in the boards. Carlson battling with two Lakers. They'll end up coming out of there with the puck. Smith gives chase momentarily. Prior Lake skater driving towards the middle of the ice momentarily. Wrister ended up coming off a body to the near side boards and cleared by Rampart. McNeil be the first skater down. Clearance ends up all the way on Cam Carlson's stick, who chips it down the ice, and McNeil was offside, so she had to touch up, but still on the forecheck. Anderson is on the ice as the penalty expires. Puck coming up the near side boards. Clearance hits Anderson in the stick. She tries to go back around the boards. Rampart was going for a change. She was on for the last couple of minutes of the penalty kill. Toe check. Backhands the puck up the boards, but it gets blocked. Krisak and John Choi also on the ice. That was Krisak to Tochek. Backhands it up the ice. She's trying to hold up because John Choi was in the zone but couldn't do it. Puck comes up to Carlson, who goes up the boards to a Prior Lake skater. She'll put a wrister in on net that gets kicked aside to Lewis. Tochek gets the rebound. Shaka with a little miscommunication there, I think. Centering pass goes all the way out to the defender, blocked by Tochek. She manages to clear it. John Choi giving chase. John Choi and Tochek over there with Luth now on the ice. Krisak tries to go cross ice just to get some breathing room, but intercepted by Prior Lake. Their defender is going to drive into the center of the ice, tries to step into a wrister, ends up on a different Laker stick. Good kick save by Lewis. Rebound ends up coming out to Knutson. Changes direction a couple times, but runs into trouble. Cannot clear the puck. Puberty on the ice, along with Luth. Both Krisaks. Puck is going to end up outside the zone. That was a Laker pass, so there won't be any icing. They'll have to retreat all the way behind their own net to get the puck. Forecheck from Luth and Knutson is evaded, and wrist shot hits Lewis high. Rebound popped down to the far side. There was no follow shot. Wrister gets kicked down by Lewis. That was the 26th shot of the day, according to the scorekeeper. 22nd save for Lewis. Lakers doing a really good job maintaining possession of the puck and skating around the Shakopee D. Occasionally getting a lot of space. Puck is finally cleared by Huberty. going to be iced. It was rolling momentarily. It looked like it might hold up, but it's going to come back down to the other end. So McNee, Telejohn, John Choi, Smith, and Carlson on the ice. 5:31 left in the third. 4-1 deficit for the Sabers. Face off won by John Choi, but aggressive pressure by Prior Lake ends up maintaining possession of it. John Choi on the boards in the corner, battling along with Carlson, a couple of Lakers. John Choi poke checks it back into the corner, rides the skater off the puck, comes out to McNee, but then deflects out to the Prior Lake defender. Shakopee skaters might be getting a little tired because it's getting harder and harder to get out of our own zone here. Centering pass chipped to, I'm not sure who. McNee manages to get it out of the zone. Telejohn's got it. She's one-on-one, trying to backhand a centering pass, but Prior Lake in good position. Carlson sacrifices the body to hold the puck in there. She was giving up about 100 pounds to the Prior Lake skater. Good tough play there. Puck comes over to Smith. Shakopee kind of in the middle of a running change here. Smith, McNee, toe check. Now Rampart's on the ice. McNee's coming off. Smith's coming off. Kind of a strangely timed line change there, but no harm done. Anderson on the ice, kicks it. She's a soccer player. Loses it eventually, but she's doing chase in the corner. Cleared around the far side boards, up but not out, as Rampart puts some pressure on. Bocek is going to come out of there with the puck. She tries to chip it around. Probably like defender changed directions. Outlet pass was too far and ended up on Krisak's stick. Her wrister went wide. Anderson ended up with the puck, centered it. There was nobody there. Ends up on a Laker stick, and they'll easily exit the zone. Pass goes off the near side boards. They're just changing, so they're fine giving up possession there. Knutson on the ice. Puck is chipped deep. That'll be an icing. Rampart and Anderson will come off now, and Luth and Huberty will join Knutson. Looks like the Ds are changing as well. Chloe Krisak and Cam Carlson onto the ice. 3:05 left. Good face-off work by Huberty. Really aggressive play. Ended up almost getting a shot on net there, but puck ends up in the neutral zone on Carlson's stick. She gets tied up before she can do anything with it, but Knutson giving good pressure. Holds up the Prior Lake attack momentarily. They'll eventually get it deep. Carlson loses the puck, ends up right in the slot. Wrist shot gets partially deflected, I think. Lewis was there. Krisak ends up with the puck, changes direction, goes up the board to Luth. Luth cannot get it past the Prior Lake pinching defender. Cross ice pass is rolling. It will clear the zone, but it's going to end up on a Prior Lake stick. Luth and Huberty are going to change. Wrister kicked aside by Lewis, but ends up on the far side boards, and John Choi has to kind of pin it against the boards. She's trying to chip it out, but gets held in. Weak wrister in on Lewis, who just kind of sticked it aside. Chloe Krisak comes out of there with the puck. Her pass to McNee was in McNee's skates, a little bit awkward, so she couldn't get possession of the puck. Prior Lake ends up with it. Their pass ended up right on a Saber stick, and looked like Sabers might have a little bit of an odd man rush, but nothing doing there. Schuler onto the ice. Telejohn as well. Puck will come behind the net. Smith will go off the near side boards. Prior Lake first to the puck, and they'll hold it in. Ends up on a Laker stick. Hard wrist shot from the faceoff dot, but Lewis was up to the challenge. 1 minute left in the game. Puck still in the Shakopee defensive zone. Slap shot just a bit outside there, but Prior Lake will be the first to it. Backhand also just a bit outside, but again, Prior Lake first one to it. If I sound like a broken record, that is because that is what keeps happening. John Choi on the boards along with Smith, but Prior Lake comes out of there with the puck. Wrist shot goes wide, around all the way around the boards out to the blue line. Finally on a Shakopee stick. Still can't get out of the zone. Finally get out of the zone with 22 seconds left, but immediately right back in. Lewis is going to glove it. Much needed break. So 15 seconds left. 5 new skaters for the Sabers to end the game. Rampart, Anderson, Tocek, Krisak, and Krisak. Draw is tied up into the ref's skates. Ends up coming out to Tocek, backhanded out. And puck pass intercepted by Chloe. Krisak. Rister gets deflected over the net, and that'll be your final. 4-1 Lakers. They'll take the rivalry game, out shooting the Sabers 28-17. We will be back in action on Tuesday night, I believe. I don't remember who we're playing, but we will see you guys then.